Hey everyone, welcome to my April 10th, 2026 movie collection update. Got lots of Blu-rays, some DVDs to show you here, so why not beat around the bush? Let's just dive right in. You guys know what these are. You know what to expect out of me by now. So here we go. We are starting off with two pre-order items I pre-ordered them that were put out through Synapse Films. Synapse Films in conjunction with Red Shirt Pictures for this first one, and that is of course Michael Felsher's label, where he put out Hearts of Darkness, the making of the final Friday. I know Jason Goes to Hell is a very hated Friday the 13th film. I've never hated it. I always thought it was kind of a cool, different, entertaining movie. Doesn't fit in with the rest of the franchise at all. But when your franchise, up to that point, is just 7 movies in the woods of teenagers getting killed and one kind of in the city, you gotta shake it up a little bit. And then they went to space after that. So, I was very eager to see this documentary. Of course, I'm a big fan of everything Michael Felsher does. I was not too familiar with Adam Marcus, the writer-director of Jason Goes to Hell, but watching this documentary, he carries it. This is really Adam Marcus's story. It's his trials, everything that went on into making that film. And I gotta say, this was a really good, fun, entertaining documentary. Especially everything with Stephen Williams. He was a blast. And they succeeded with this documentary because I feel like no matter what your thoughts are on Jason Goes to Hell, you should find this a pretty entertaining watch. Got a lot of stuff for you here. Of course, I don't, these cards, these photo prints that it comes with, everything now with physical media is all about the bells and whistles, the special editions, the deluxe editions, the little booklets, the big boxes. You guys know me, I just want my movies, and I want none of that other crap with it, because I got nowhere to put it, and yeah, I don't get it. But, nice slimline case here for this. Excellent documentary. Whether or not you like the film, I think you should check it out because it is really entertaining. And it's fascinating, too, just to hear all the behind the scenes. Now, this one had been trapped on VHS for the longest time. And Synapse was finally bringing it out. Disc debut, Blu-ray. And I had always heard of this. It's directed by Nick Castle. It had a fun premise. So I'm like, all right, let's check out Tag, the Assassination Game, starring Robert Carradine and Linda Hamilton. This release is excellent. Picture quality is outstanding. Lots of special features. Commentary moderated by Sean Clark. Again, great people. Definitely took a lot of love and attention into there, as again, we have all these bonus little, things in there with it. The movie itself, to me, just sucked. It's campy, but it was campy in a way that just, to me, was not that fun. Maybe just watching it for the first time in today's climate, this story just wasn't that good, but it's boring, it's campy, it's not really that exciting, it's not that thrilling, it's not that funny. It's great release, a lot of great effort put into this. I did not think this movie was very good at all. Sorry, guys. Another documentary here, and this one was over a much more gentle subject and a very sad one. Last year they had the John Candy documentary come out, which was great. It was so sad by the end. And whenever you're watching any of these documentaries that it's going to end when they talk about the person's death, these are all going to ultimately leave you feeling very sad and bittersweet. And this is a documentary, and this is the first of 4 Blu-rays I got as a sale with Kino Lorber. Which, Kino is one of my favorites because, like I said, it's so many of these Blu-ray companies now, they're putting things out in these big boxes. It comes with all this extra shit that nobody needs, blah, blah, blah. Kino Lorber just puts out the Blu-ray, just the movie. That's all I want. And they put out Remembering Gene Wilder, who of course, I grew up on Gene Wilder. The only Willy Wonka, in my opinion. Silver Streak, Stir Crazy. I grew up with so much of Gene Wilder, and this is a really in-depth documentary. And it was interesting that they used Gene Wilder's own narration of his own autobiography to kind of narrate this. So that was kind of cool that, in a way, they were able to make him posthumously narrate his own documentary. It gets sad, it's a little, low budget, but, you got Richard Pryor's daughter in there, Mel Brooks, Harry Connick Jr., and Peter Ostrom, Charlie from Willy Wonka. So, and then you could see a lot of these interviews in full on this Blu-ray. Really well done, really loving, thoughtful documentary on a comedic legend that may rest in peace. So another one, a pretty blind buy, but I'm like, well, that plot sounds interesting. I really like these outdoor survival thriller type films, and, well, IFC Midnight, they have a pretty decent track record with me, and this one is called Rust Creek, which is about a teenage girl on her way to college or on her way to, like, a job interview, college-age student. She gets lost in rural Kentucky and is chased and stalked by some hillbillies. It sounds interesting, but again, this is another one that did not land for me because, again, this was boring as shit. It starts promising enough, it starts interestingly enough, but after a while, this turns into a weird romance movie where she's broken her leg after like a fall or something happens with the hillbillies, and she gets taken in by this crystal meth chef, and it turns into like a Stockholm Syndrome romance with the two of them, and that takes up about 70% of the movie because that guy is the cousin to the guys that are chasing her, but there's not really a chase. It's too slow paced and not good. If you want your outdoor survival thriller, yeah, that's really not what this is. It's pretty bad. I mean, cinematography's good, but... And weirdly enough, this is one that a lot of people don't like. I know critically this was always a nightmare by Michael Bay. And I had seen this film before, but I never owned it, so I figured I'd finally pick this up, found it for dirt cheap. And you know what? I always liked this. I always thought this was a really entertaining disaster movie with a great cast. Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, Michael Clark Duncan, Owen Wilson, Jason Isaacs is in it. Armageddon. Fittingly enough, because today is the day the Artemis 2 is supposed to crash land in the ocean. So at the time I'm recording this, hopefully they make a safe landing, Godspeed. But I always thought this was fun. The first time I saw this was my freshman year of high school, my earth science class. The teacher showed us tons of disaster movies in that class, and I remember this was one of them. It's a long movie, too, so it was spread out over a few days. It's entertaining, though. It's silly. It's just a popcorn flick. And at that, I think it's a really good one. So, I've always enjoyed Armageddon. And then this was interesting because last month, my dad and I, we had taken a impromptu road trip, and we stayed up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, because our convention got canceled that we were supposed to be at. So we just booked it up there in one afternoon or evening when I was relaxing in my hotel room. I caught the first 10 minutes of this movie on TV, and I said, oh, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty fun. I got to get that. So, it's cool when you could still discover things that way. So I was sitting in a hotel room in the Stella Hotel in Kenosha, watching the first 10 minutes of the John Singleton reboot movie for Shaft. Not to be confused with the other Samuel L. Jackson Shaft reboot that came out like 6 or 7 years ago. This one's directed by John Singleton. The villain is played by Christian Bale, who he is seemingly having the time of his life, just playing the most slimeball guy you can picture. And Samuel L. Jackson, love SLJ. Of course, he's always great. And for the most part, it's a pretty entertaining, good movie. And I'm a big fan of John Singleton. You could definitely feel his style over this. It's not perfect. It falters in a few areas. Primarily the ending of the film is just kind of like, you see what they're doing and you see what they're saying, But as far as entertainment value goes, you want to see it go a different way. So the ending's a little disappointing, but at the end of the day, it's a very good addition to my collection. Shaft, baby, Samuel L. Jackson. Alright, and then my Jason Statham additions to the update, and this time around I have 3 of them. The first 2 go hand in hand, so I'm going to talk about these first. The first 2 films that Jason Statham ever did. The 2 Guy Ritchie classics, Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels, and Snatch. Both of them, very similar feel, a lot of the same cast members. This one's a bit more Americanized with, you got Brad Pitt, Dennis Farina, a few people in there. This one's more raw, more low budget, indie feel. This one's definitely more polished. They're very similar. If you like one, I've got no doubt in my mind you'll like the other one. For me personally, between the 2 of them, I like this one, but Snatch is where it's at. Snatch had me cracking up. I was having a blast, beginning to end. Brad Pitt is... Hey, you tell me how... I love it. Dennis Farina's great. Of course, Jason Statham's great. And these are 2 movies where Jason Statham, I don't think, fights a single person. So, Snatch is just a new comedy classic for me. It took me way too long to get to it. Love it. But that is not to undercut Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels, because this was also a lot of fun. Like I said, it's more raw, it's more indie, and to me, the laughter. Like, this one, it wasn't quite as hitting as Snatch was, though I will say in defense of Lock, Stock, it has what is potentially my favorite ending that I've seen to a comedy like this. So that, like I said, you can't really have one without the other. I personally prefer Snatch, but they're both... If you like one, you'll like the other. Definitely check them out. And the other Guy Ritchie movies I've seen, he's just sadly never really captured the same magic as these 2. Because with Statham, he did Operation Fortune and Wrath of Man, which... They're fine enough, good movies, but very different flavor to these. These are so late 90s, early 2000s, they could only exist then. And I watched this one at a friend's house because we were looking up Jason Statham and seeing what Jason Statham movies were on Tubi. And this was there, and this was the only one that I had not seen of the ones that were listed on Tubi, because like Blitz was there and Parker was there, a bit more common ones. And I had never even heard of this. And he's not the star of it, he plays a supporting part, but it's a remake of a French film, I believe by the same director, called 13. You also have Mickey Rourke, 50 Cent, Michael Shannon. It's a really weird cast for a low-budget thriller like this, which at the end of the day, it boils down, it's a Russian roulette tournament. That this guy enters in because his family's struggling, they're poor, the dad's in the hospital, he needs to make money, so he blindly signs up for something not knowing what it is, knowing a lot of money is on the line, and it turns out to be a Russian roulette tournament. And it does a good job at, it's tense, even though it does the thing I hate, where at the very beginning of the movie, you see something and then it goes 3 days earlier. I hate that. I hate that. And this does that, so I'm just like, son of a bitch. Overlooking that, though, it is a pretty tense thing. You put yourself in the shoes of the people in this movie, you're just like, damn. Michael Shannon is going absolutely batshit in this, so if you want to see Michael Shannon get all hyper and just scream all of his lines, he does that in this. Mickey Rourke is just kind of feels like he's playing himself. And Jason Statham plays what is probably the worst character of his career. And I don't mean that as far as like he's bad acting in it. I just mean the character. I'm like, Jason Statham is a slimy son of a bitch in this movie that you will hate by the ending of it. Again, it's not perfect, but it kind of surprised me because I went in with low expectations. I said, okay, what is this thing? I've never heard of it. It looks low, but this is probably going to be a piece of junk. And it's not polished. It is rough around the edges, and there's definitely some things to be said about the way it ends. But at the end of the day, I didn't hate it. It was an interesting little oddity as I progress my way through the Jason Statham filmography. And now I have the remainders of my Kino Lorber sale, so Remembering Gene Wilder was the first one, and then I have 3 of these that I all got for pretty cheap. Yeah, I always like to support Kino. I like the taste of films that they have. And the taste of the films is just, it's just real movies. It's not, well, they're real movies, but it's not like Vinegar Syndrome or places like that where they go for the Euro crime and just the bottom of the barrel kind of shitty movies. So with these ones, 4Ks that I picked up, we have Orca, the Killer Whale, which I heard nothing but good things about. Everyone went on about how it was such a crazy 70s creature feature. And it's definitely shocking. Like, the scene early on, like the inciting incident, you know what it is if you've seen this movie, is legitimately just grotesque and disturbing. Cinematography here and the practical effects with the rubber whales and all that is outstanding. Production on this is fantastic. The movie itself, though, I just could not get into this. This was just the character, like, the Orca is your protagonist. But so you're essentially following the whole movie from the point of view of Richard Harris, who is your villain. And even when they give him like a sad backstory, I'm like, no, this guy's already a piece of shit. Now you're just trying too hard to try to make me care about him, and you're failing. Like, I did not give a fuck about Richard Harris or his backstory in this. Robert Carradine, again, is in this, playing the most pointless role, and the death scenes are shot and edited like garbage to where you can't even see them. The music is great, cinematography is great, practical effects are great, but the death scenes, the movie, and by the time you get to the third act, the story just stalls out and it just drifts, and it's just... This has a huge cult following online, so apparently there's something I'm not getting with it, but I was just... After the first 20 or so minutes, I was just bored by this one, so... Then we have MouseHunt, which I had seen clips of this before, but I had never seen the movie all the way through. This was fun. It's a Gore Verbinski, wild energy storybook, like Three Stooges meets Home Alone meets Dr. Seuss comedy. Christopher Walken, in my opinion, is the best part of it. I love Christopher Walken in this. Lee Evans got annoying after a while just because all he does is just scream. And it does get repetitive with the plot beats, but it's fun. It's lighthearted, it's silly, it's cute. It's a very serviceable, fun DreamWorks family movie. And then on the heels of that, it's serial killer thriller from the mid-2000s. Again, I heard some good things about. But this is one where I'm probably just gonna... I sound like a broken record here, and it sounds like I'm wasting a lot of money blind buying a lot of these. But that's the chance you take. Suspect Zero. Cool idea, but shitty execution. I mean, Ben Kingsley is fine in it. Like, he's creepy, he's cool in this, but... Again, the story, once you get more out on it, it's really weird, it's really artsy, there's all these psychic, flashes. I gotta be honest with you, I just thought this movie was fucking stupid. I did not get into this at all. So, well, we had Remembering Gene Wilder and MouseHunt, so... 2 out of the 4 is not bad. I mean, if you like your serial killer thrillers, you might like this one more than I did, but I just didn't leave an impression. I thought it was weird, I thought it was artsy, and it felt too much like it was just trying to do the Seven thing again. Which, if you want to see that, watch Resurrection with Christopher Lambert. It's a much better Seven knockoff than that was. And then this one I was not a fan of either. Cutthroat Island. I'd always heard about this one. I know the production of this was just hellish. I don't like period movies, and for some reason I had it in my brain. I did not think this was a period film. I thought this was like an Indiana Jones-ish, just adventure story. But no, it's a pirate period movie, and I just couldn't get into it, guys. I'm sorry, even though I don't think I should be apologizing because this one does not have that good of a reputation. I just wanted to complete my Rennie Harlan filmography because I am a fan of Rennie Harlan. But yeah, this one, just, again, it's not doing it for me. These two, thankfully, I got these two Mill Creek Blu-rays, and these both were fun, thankfully. Disorganized Crime. Hell of a cast. Fred Gwynne, Lou Diamond Phillips, Corbin Burnson, Ed O'Neill. This one was fun. It's kind of a heist movie, but it's also, it feels like a precursor to The Great Outdoors or Black Sheep or Without a Paddle, because the first half of this is like a chase in the Pacific Northwest with Corbin Burnson. And then it gets into the heist stuff. So it's a really weird kind of hodgepodge story, but it worked because the cast was fun. And I looked it up. Apparently Fred Gwynne was having real heart attacks on the set, and they kept it in the movie. So, hey, that's something. Fun movie. Fun 80s comedy. I don't know how I never heard of it before. It's not perfect. It's got some issues, but at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun watching it. And I can pretty much echo the identical comments to this. The Cowboy Way with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland. Woody Harrelson owns this movie. Kiefer is more of the straight guy. This is Woody Harrelson's movie. The scene where he's in that upscale restaurant in New York. He's asking for popsicles. He's doing the shit with the beer bottle on his tongue. Very funny. Ernie Hudson's in it, and you get a legitimately large-scale action climax, and one hell of a final death for a comedy like this. Pretty much echoing the same comments to both. It's fun comedies, not the greatest in the world, but they're entertaining, kind of underrated, and they do their jobs well. So I like both of these. And we're ending with some TV shows. So some DVDs, I got the first season of this all the way last year and found this one cheap for $4. So I decided to continue on with Las Vegas Season 2. I know Season 5, they replaced James Caan with Tom Selleck, and apparently the show ends with the loose story in Season 5. It never gets wrapped up, so I don't know how far I really want to continue with this show. But the way this season ends certainly has me wanting to see where the hell Season 3 picks up from. But great guest stars. You've got Snoop Dogg, you've got Alec Baldwin. 2 episodes with Sylvester Stallone, which it was cool to see him in there. And a lot of John Lovitz. If you like John Lovitz, you'll get your fix of him both in Season 1 and Season 2. So it's a fun, flashy, early 2000s show that really could only exist at that time. Because I know how the show ends and how the 5th season goes, I'm a little weary with how far I want to keep continuing into it. But when I check it out, I'm always into it. So, Las Vegas, Season 2. And then 2 movies. Again, this one I made a joke out of because I bought it in Kenosha, Wisconsin in this weird little vintage thrift store. Splat, also known as In Your Face, an early 2000s paintball movie. Its heart is in the right place. There's enthusiasm. There's effort put into it. It's homemade. This is a homemade, essentially shot on video movie that has a bunch of paintball people in it. It's funny. The story beats are kind of comedic. It stars Keir O'Donnell, who I recognize from Paul Blart Mall Cop, hilariously. But yeah, this was 50 cents in this weird little used store. It wasn't $3.99, it was 50 cents. And it's an oddity. It's a weird little, paintball ad that someone distributed. So, I never heard of it before. Do I recommend it? No, not really. But for a 50-cent oddity paintball thing, it was what it was. I'll leave it at that. Got this movie here called Plastic, because the director's Julian Gilby and the star is Ed Speleers. Before this, they had worked on another movie called A Lonely Place to Die, which I love. I think that's an awesome, underrated thriller. So I wanted to see another collaboration with the two of them. So it was this very Danny Boyle, Guy Ritchie style heist caper thing inspired by a true story. Did not like this whatsoever. This was just very obnoxious, very over the top. Yeah, didn't do it for me. I did not really get anything out of this. Sorry, Julian. Sorry, Ed. And lastly, we end with Scooby's All-Star Laff-a-Lympics, put out by the Warner Archive Collection. I've always been a big Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo fan, like the original Scooby-Doo, and then when they did the movies where it was like Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters, Scooby-Doo meets Batman, Scooby-Doo meets the Three Stooges, you know, those kind of ones. I somehow skipped over this. I've never seen this in my life, the Scooby's Laff-a-Lympics, where it's essentially the first ever like Marvel cinematic universe where you have all the Hanna-Barbera, you know, characters and then some unique characters to this that are just participating in the Olympics, and shenanigans ensue. It's fun. It's totally, you know, that period. I'm a sucker for this stuff. The only thing I will say is this is definitely not meant to be binged because it will get repetitive really, really fast. So just space out your viewings. If you're a fan of the old classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and especially Scooby-Doo, you can't go wrong with this. It's a good time. Just don't binge it. So there's my advice for that. And there we go. There's my movie collection update for April 10th, 2026. Next update, usually do the June update is going to be kind of the outdoors, summer-centric update I always plan on doing. I've already got a couple movies in mind for that. So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of all the movies. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.